Now, more than ever, the word home has taken on a new significance. Our homes have become our workplaces, our schools, our entertainment hubs, and our personal sanctuaries. At Dwell with Dignity, we bring a sense of home and safety to those who have never had it before. Join us as we talk to designers, artists, and creatives about what home means to them, how they shelter and style, and why giving transformational design to those less fortunate is so important. I'm Ashley Sharp, and this is Dwelling Well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Dwelling Well. My name is Ashley Sharp, and I'm the Executive Director of Dwell with Dignity. I am thrilled to have one of our greatest supporters and board members, Richard Graziano, speaking with us today. Hi, Richard. How's it going?
Good, Ashley. How are you?
I'm so great. Thank you for being here. So I'm really excited to have you because you know Dwell with Dignity so intimately. And something that I don't even think I know is, how did you first hear of Dwell with Dignity and get involved with the organization?
Sure. I was actually thinking about that today before we got on this call together. And I think it was 2013, about 7 years ago. I went to my first thrift studio just sort of by chance with someone that invited me to go with them. And I got there and I thought, what is this? This is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I'll never forget. There was like a Jonathan Adler sofa that was $1,200, and I was like, "Where are we? What is this thing?" And so, anyways, that was the first time I had heard of Dwell with Dignity, been to thrift studio, and immediately, I was intrigued. I was so excited to be at the event and see all the things and all the items that make it so special. But then I wanted to know, okay, so what is this group actually doing? And so I just sort of started to learn a little bit more, and then I became a volunteer. And I did some volunteering on work nights. Actually, I also volunteered to help work at one of the thrift studios. And so it just sort of became something that I was really excited about, both from the mission standpoint of the charity, and then Thrift Studio is sort of like my prom every year that I get like so excited to go to. And so it's been really fun to see over the years how the group has progressed. And I guess I think this is my third year now on the board. So I had met with Lisa and, told her I was really passionate about what you guys were doing and that I wanted to help even more. I liked being a volunteer. I liked being part of the event. And so I really thought it would be exciting for me to be a part of the board. And so was really excited to become a board member about 3 years ago.
And what's so great about that is I joined about 3 years ago, so my entire Dwell with Dignity experience has been with you. So it's been great because I've been growing and learning, and you have had this experience with the organization already, and you really are a huge advocate for what we're doing. And I know that last year you hosted this beautiful dinner for our 10-year anniversary. So do you want to talk about that a little bit and what that process was like for you?
Sure. Yeah. When we all on the board and you and Lisa kind of came up with this idea of the decade for the dinner series, I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to host something to really bring in my circle of friends to sort of learn more about this charity that I've been talking about all these years. And so we decided to host a dinner at our house. I think we ended up having 20 or 22 people that came. And we did it in May. And we had like this unusually perfect, beautiful, like comfortable evening. I remember I was wearing a sweater. I was so excited it wasn't hot because we were going to be outside. And we had this beautiful dinner, and all of my closest friends attended. And we sat down, had a fun dinner, and then sort of in between dinner and dessert, I had prepared one of the videos that really talks about the mission. And so everyone kind of stopped, and I projected it up on my back fence in the backyard. And so we watched the video, and then we had just kind of this close-knit, intimate conversation, and people asked questions and really were engaged and wanted to know more about the charity. And so it was really special for me because, this was last year, so I guess I've been involved, almost 6 years. All of my friends have heard me talk about this, and several of them have come and supported Thrift Studio over the years as well. But it was really neat to talk about the mission and have them ask questions and really kind of understand what was going on. And that night, we raised almost $9,000 just with that group. And so it was really, really exciting. And I always get excited about wanting to bring in the most. And I'm a competitive kind of person, so I really push everyone before they all knew they had to come with their checkbook. You have to show up and you have to bring money to support this group. And so it was really fun to see everybody really excited about and giving back and being so generous.
Well, and I think it's your enthusiasm that makes everyone else so excited. But what I really love is that you went to Thrift Studio, which is our amazing thrift store that we hold every single year. So we get these beautiful designer items donated to us, and then we mark them at least 60% off. So you're right, you can come in and find a Jonathan Adler piece or a bundle of 5 piece, and they're at amazing prices. But what's so great about that is that all of the money raised actually goes to benefit women and children who are homeless and living in their car or on an air mattress together, and to give them these beautiful interiors. So the things that you see in the store are reflective of what we put in someone's home. And so it's really this beautiful circle that kind of comes all the way around. Right.
Absolutely. It's that's, I think, one of the beauties about the organization is that there's this really fun element of design, which in Dallas, Texas, so many people are so proud to have their homes be beautiful, and they really take the time to find things that are special for their homes. And I think that's a great draw to get our community engaged with the organization, and then to find what actually happens with the proceeds from this super fun, meaningful event. I think it's really special.
So how did you get into design? I know that you've worked for D Magazine before, you're a real estate agent, but you have this really deep love of design and interiors and fashion. And how did you become interested in this in the first place?
Well, I think I've always sort of been interested in interiors, and even as a kid, I remember I used to love to draw floor plans, and I would pretend like I was, a builder designing homes. And it's something that I always was curious about. And then, as I became an adult, and I started working for D Magazine really young, and then my focus was working for D Home and learning about, like, what is an interior designer, what are designer showrooms, all of those things that I really kind of didn't know before. It was exciting to kind of learn all of that and work, work with the magazine and really appreciate the Dallas design community specifically. And so that just got me even more interested, I think, in thinking about how I want my own personal home to be. And so, years later, I became a real estate agent, which has been almost 10 years now. And, that part of the reason I wanted to do that too was just my love of homes and interiors and really appreciating architecture. And it served me really well. I think, the bad thing is I'm in all these beautiful homes all the time, and I'm constantly thinking, oh, I need to do that to my house. When we do move a lot, I like to move. So I think, my most exciting thing when we're going to be moving is planning how we're going to lay things out, what we need to bring in, what we need to switch out. And so I really get excited about interior design. So then when I came upon Dwell with Dignity, it just sort of brought a lot of things together for me. And I can go through every single room in my house, and there are some really special items in every room from Thrift Studio. And that's something that's really important to me. I think one thing I've learned with interior design as I get older is that the things I have in my house, I want them to have a meaning to me. I don't just buy them, oh, because they're pretty and some things you have to do that. But I really like to look in every room I'm sitting in and see something that has a story, or there's something significant about it that is why it is where it is.
Well, something that's really cool is that the piece behind you was at Thrift Studio last year. And I think it
Yeah.
was the second piece that sold, and it was created by our volunteers. So it's literally a one-of-a-kind piece. And I'm sure that has a lot of meaning for you because of all of the implications of supporting the nonprofit that you love and being able to do so in such a beautiful way.
Well, and I remember as a volunteer on one of the work nights, we were doing an art piece that was making all these little birds that they were going to put on something bigger. And this piece I thought was so interesting because I love imagining that it was all the volunteers putting in their time and hard work. And so it made it really special. It caught my eye immediately. I think I've told you before that whenever I go to Thrift Studio, especially the last 2 years or so, I have all of my friends and whoever's with me. Last year, my mom was with me, and so we had to divide and conquer. And I knew when we walked in, I saw this. It said, "You need to run and get that." And she was so nervous to get over there and lock it down before someone else did. But it's really fun to have this piece. I really like. Right now I'm in we have a little sitting room in our bedroom. And so this is sort of my like comfortable spot where I like to, relax or sometimes do a little bit of work. And so, I think Thrift Studio is really an opportunity for people who have interest in art and have maybe never bought their first piece of, what you might consider more significant art that is an original piece, not a reproduction item. And, one of our first big pieces we bought was one of the blue horses that Melissa Oberti did. That is probably my favorite piece of art in our house. And it was, our very first big piece, and it's just really special to us. And then we bought a second one of her horses a couple of years later at Thrift Studio. And so it's really a neat opportunity, I think, for people to start to grow their own kind of collection if they've never bought an original piece before. And I think buying an original piece in this situation, knowing that all of the proceeds from that piece is going to go back to help these families and help the mission of the charity, makes it so much more valuable, than I think just buying a piece of art for fun.
Well, and I think it's a great exposure for the art community, but you're right. The entire Thrift Studio process is a wonderful way for people to kind of experiment and branch out and maybe be exposed to things that they wouldn't be before. So you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. When you move, you said you switch out items. So is your philosophy as far as design that nothing is permanent and that everything is kind of movable?
I think you kind of have like your main items per room, right? But I find sometimes when we moved, what works well in an area in one house works great in a different area in the next house. And so, we've got our pieces that we held on to for a long time. Of course, I like to buy new things too and switch out. But it's exciting to imagine the way you layer something in one house, and then when you move, it could work completely different in the next house. And so that's always kind of fun to be starting, to kind of start fresh and take your items into a new space and different light, different room shapes. And I think that's, for me, has been something I really enjoy doing as I get more interested in the interior design element of it.
I love that story. And so here's something that I would love to know too. So I'm a parent, you're a parent. What has it been like incorporating a brand new style design into your life with this addition of this wonderful small human?
Yeah. Well, we have really tried to set out to not move things too much and let him understand what he can and cannot touch. And so I think for the most part, our more casual living space that we hang out and watch TV, there's really not a lot of things for him to mess with. But in some of our other areas of the house, we've really kind of left things the same. And he kind of knows, he likes to go walk up to things and just kind of like touch it like this and look at me, and we're like, okay, you can just give it a little tap. But we of course we want him to be safe and all that, but we've really tried for him to kind of understand, here's our house, and these are these things these aren't for you to mess with, and some things are. Now he's just a little bit over 2. He's definitely getting in that wild 2-year-old stage, and he runs around the house. He drives he has little cars that he drives them in circles all the way around the house. I think the one other thing I've learned is that probably not necessary to have really expensive area rugs at this moment, because he's constantly running and driving his little cars around them. So I think that's one thing that we've kind of figured out. But and you just sort of can't be as worried about, you're going to get a little spill. They always have some kind of food on their face or their hands or something that's going to brush on things.
Well, and I love that you're not too precious about anything. But also what I think is so great is that your son is going to grow up with his appreciation of style and design, and it's going to be part of him. And I don't think that a lot of children are exposed to that, because the parents kind of think of it as, that's what they do. But he's going to have this whole different worldview, which is going to be so fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully, he will like it and sort of appreciate it. I really like for him to have a cool bedroom, and a place for all of his things, and for it to feel special for him. And so I think that will be something nice that hopefully he appreciates as he becomes a bigger little human.
Well, what's really awesome too is that for the first time ever, we have a child's room at Thrift Studio. So Madre came in and they did this amazing split room, and it has stuff for girls, little boys. And I think it's so great, because a lot of us are parents, and we do want our kids to have rooms that are reflections of them, but also of our personal style too. So that's a great way to go in and find pieces for a kid's room.
I'm so excited about that Madre vignette. I can't wait for Thrift Studio to see if there's going to be some treats for our rooms here. I'm certain there will be.
Yes, I took my son there the other day while I was working, and he found 2 dinosaurs and ran up and grabbed them and said, "Mama, can I have?" And I said, "Well, maybe if you're the first one there at Thrift Studio."
Totally. Yeah, dinosaurs are everything at our house, and gosh,
Oh my gosh.
Dinosaurs.
Yes, dinosaurs.
And trucks. Any kind of truck that he loves, the garbage truck, and it's funny. So I'm looking forward. I think it's really great that this year we're going to have a children's themed vignette. I think that's really smart, and I think a lot of our patrons will appreciate that. So I'm excited that they were so generous to be part of it this year.
So let's talk a little bit about your job, because obviously you have this really strong design background and just this intelligence about design. So how does that affect your success in real estate?
Sure. Well, I think it, a couple things. When I'm listing a house, I like to come in and I go room by room with my clients, and we really edit. And I really want to figure out what needs to be moved around, what tweaks can we make to really show off each space the best. And, I try to be very honest and very direct, and, in a kind way. When I come in and make changes to people's houses, it has nothing to do with their personal style or their personal taste. I'm just trying for us to be able to appeal to the broadest pool of buyers that can really imagine themselves in the space. One thing I've found, kind of to my surprise, is how much people really can't see past people's personal items or paint colors, or it's kind of challenging for some people to have the vision. And so from a listing perspective, I really try to edit the homes that I list so people can imagine themselves in this space. Because I think that's all people want, is they want it to feel like theirs. They don't want to think about the seller and what the seller does and what they enjoy. They want to imagine themselves. And so that's one thing that I think is really important that I do, and my clients will tell you I'm very honest about when I go to list their houses. And then with my buyers, it's sort of a similar thing where, we can be in a room and I say, look, if you just make this little change or just paint this white, this is actually a really beautiful room. And so I think it helps to kind of talk through, things that people could do to make houses better for maybe not a lot of money.
I think that's so fascinating. And I think that by having a real estate agent with that kind of knowledge and design background, you are able to make these tweaks and they know that you're coming at it from a really informed, educated place.
Right. Yeah. Anytime I have a client that's buying a house, I always tell them and think to myself, at some point in my lifetime, I'm probably going to have to sell this house again. Right. And so we want to make sure there's an opportunity for what they're buying to be sellable. And, maybe there's some changes that I could point out they can make that maybe someone else hadn't thought of. And it gives us an opportunity to maybe, purchase a property that maybe someone else doesn't see the potential that maybe we do. And I think that long-term can be really good on value for a lot of clients.
Well, and speaking of home, this is one question that I always like to end with. What makes home for you?
I feel like we all are all over the place all the time. Obviously, that's changed in the last few months, but we all have really busy lives and busy jobs. And we live in a world of a lot going on. And so when I want to calm myself and I try to think about where do I want to be that's going to make me feel the most calm and the most relaxed and the most comfortable. And, it's never a beach. It's never some vacation in my mind. It's my house. And I think that your home should be the place that your go-to to relax, to feel calm, to feel comfortable, to feel safe. And I think that's really what home is for me and for my family.
Well, and I love that you've become so passionate about an organization that offers families who need it the most a sense of home and safety and security. And I think that's such a brilliant way to tie everything that you do back together.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled and honored and proud to be part of Dwell with Dignity, and really excited for the future and the families that we're going to continue to serve, and the community that's going to get excited about our mission and about Thrift Studio, and really looking forward to, I think this year's Thrift Studio is going to be a really important one that we'll never forget. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you so much, Richard, for agreeing to be on the show today and for sharing your story with us, and also for sharing your passion for Dwell with Dignity. You are an amazing friend and supporter of the organization, and I truly could not imagine doing the work that I do without you. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Dwelling Well. My name is Ashley Sharp, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.